What if I told you one battle helped destroy a giant empire that had lasted for over 600 years? Sounds impossible, right? But by the end of this story, you'll see how winning a battle can sometimes lead to losing everything. A long, long time ago, there was a very powerful empire called the Ottoman Empire. It wasn't just big, it was huge. It controlled lands in Europe, Asia, and Africa all at the same time. Imagine one country stretching across 3 continents. That's like having your house, your school, and your playground all in different parts of the world but still under your control. For hundreds of years, the Ottomans were strong. Their army was powerful, their leaders were smart, and other countries were afraid of them. They built amazing cities, traded goods, and ruled over millions of people. But over time, things started to change. The empire slowly became weaker. They started losing land to other countries. Their money problems got worse. Their army wasn't as strong as it used to be. And people inside the empire began to disagree with each other. Other countries even gave them a nickname, the sick man of Europe. That's not a good nickname for a powerful empire. But even though they were weak, they were still standing. They hadn't completely fallen yet. Then something big happened. In 1914, World War I began. This was one of the biggest and most dangerous wars in history. Many powerful countries were fighting each other, and everyone had to pick a side. The Ottoman Empire made a risky choice. They joined Germany and Austria-Hungary. They believed this war would help them become strong again. They thought, if we win, we can get our power back. But that decision turned out to be a huge mistake. Instead of becoming stronger, they were pulled into a massive war against powerful enemies like Britain, France, and Russia. And they had to fight in many different places at the same time. That's like trying to fight 5 battles at once. You just can't keep up. And then came one of the most important battles in this whole story. The Battle of Gallipoli. In 1915, the enemies of the Ottoman Empire came up with a clever plan. They wanted to take control of a narrow water path called the Dardanelles. This path was very important because it connected different parts of the world and allowed ships to pass through. If the enemies could take it, they could weaken the Ottoman Empire and help their allies win the war faster. At first, it seemed like an easy mission. But they were very, very wrong. The Ottoman soldiers were ready. They were led by a brave and smart commander named Mustafa Kemal. He wasn't very famous at the time, but this battle would change that forever. The fighting at Gallipoli was extremely tough. Soldiers from both sides dug trenches in the ground and fought from very close distances. It was muddy, dangerous, and scary. Imagine living in a narrow ditch with bullets flying over your head every day. There was no comfort. No safety. Just survival. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. But the Ottoman soldiers didn't give up. Even when things looked impossible, they kept fighting. And in the end, they won. Yes, the Ottoman Empire actually defeated their enemies at Gallipoli. The invading forces had to retreat. It was seen as a great victory. People celebrated. They felt proud again. It seemed like maybe, just maybe, the empire was getting strong again. But here's the surprising part. That victory came at a huge cost. Thousands of soldiers had died. Supplies were used up. The army was exhausted. It was like running a race and winning but collapsing right after because you used up all your energy. So even though they won the battle, they became weaker. And this is where the story takes a very important turn. Mustafa Kemal, the hero of Gallipoli, noticed something others didn't. He realized the empire was in serious trouble. Even with victories like this, it couldn't survive much longer. And sadly, he was right. After Gallipoli, the Ottoman Empire started losing more and more battles. In different parts of the world, their enemies were pushing them back. At the same time, people inside the empire began to rebel. Some groups didn't want to be ruled by the Ottomans anymore. One of the biggest rebellions was the Arab Revolt, where people in the Middle East fought against Ottoman control. So now, the empire had problems on the outside and the inside. That's like trying to fix a leaking boat while new holes keep appearing everywhere. It became impossible to manage. By 1918, the situation was very bad. The Ottoman Empire was tired, weak, and almost out of resources. Their allies were losing the war, and there was no way they could continue. So they made a difficult decision. They surrendered. They signed an agreement to stop fighting. And just like that, their time as a powerful empire was coming to an end. But things didn't stop there. After the war ended, the countries that won didn't just leave the Ottomans alone. They took control of many Ottoman lands and divided them among themselves. Imagine someone taking your house, your toys, and your room and giving them away to others. That's what it felt like. The once great Ottoman Empire was now broken into pieces. For many people, it felt like everything was over. But not for Mustafa Kemal. He had seen what was happening. And instead of giving up, he decided to fight for a new beginning. He believed that even though the empire was gone, the people could still build something new. So he gathered supporters and started a movement to create a new country, one that would be independent and strong. It wasn't easy. There were battles, struggles, challenges at every step. But Mustafa Kemal didn't stop. And finally, in 1923, something amazing happened. A new country was born, Turkey. The Ottoman Empire officially ended, and Mustafa Kemal became the leader of this new nation. People later gave him the name Atatürk, which means father of the Turks. He helped build a modern country from the ruins of an old empire. So now, let's go back to the question we started with. What really broke the Ottoman Empire? Was it just one battle? Not exactly. But the Battle of Gallipoli was a major turning point. It showed how weak the empire had become. It drained their strength, even in victory. And it started a chain reaction of events that led to their fall. It also brought forward a leader who would change history forever. And here's the biggest lesson from this story. Winning one fight doesn't always mean you're winning the whole game. Sometimes, even your greatest victory can hide a bigger problem. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn more amazing moments from history explained in a fun and simple way, make sure you check out the next video and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it.